Hi there, you are watching my video diary of sorts, my development diary of, well, my development video diary of what I plan to do, because I've not been paying much attention to this channel, to be honest, and I really I should have been doing a lot more work for this channel and just sort of working on it. But anyway, I've decided to do these development diaries because I've got a huge project coming up, and it's for my uni actually. It's like it's my final university project, and I don't know, maybe doing these things will help me think and it'll give me content for my channel maybe, and I can get feedback, I can get things doing, and maybe I can hand some of these in as like just sort of development, and I can see my progress as well, how I'm doing. It's going to be over the next couple of months for like the entire academic year. I'm going to be doing these, so maybe one a week, maybe two, maybe three a week, some stuff like that, just like major developments, little developments, just, I don't know, giving me time to think like now. Like, it just gives me time to think. If I'm talking to something like out loud, it probably might be better if I'm talking in my head. So I'm actually really cold. Ignore the sheep kind of jumper. But anyway, final project. Yeah, it's huge. It's like worth so much of my degree. Like my it's worth like 60% of my final year, and my final year is also worth 60% of my entire degree. It's something like 60 or 70% of my entire degree. My second year is worth like 30 or 40, so it's like huge. If I get first in this, then I'll probably get a first overall, which is kind of crazy. But I've got to find a subject area, I've got to research it, I've got to develop it, and I've got to, well, in a month's time, I've got to submit a proposal for what I'm going to do for the entire year. So I've had this one project. Well, I had a couple of projects. My first one was being a drum sampler, but that's really been done. There's nothing I can expand on that, research into it, and I hate coding. I really hate coding. So I'm going to do something which I have a passion for, which is video games, and music. And so I thought, how could I do something like that? I mean, I want to be a video games composer, but I've never really kind of done in-depth analysis of the industry. I've never really done in-depth analysis of how it's integrated and things like that. So what I've been looking at is adaptive audio and how video game music actually works within the game. Well, how music works within the game, how sounds work within the game, how everything works within the game, like in terms of audio. And it's basically like trying to put that into a question. How would I put that into a question that I could be answering? But let's just kind of brainstorm here. I've got a little. Let's see if I can get this over all that do. Oh, I'm gonna have to reverse this. Where's my pen? Okay. So I've done a tiny bit. Bloody pen. I've done a tiny bit of research into this thing. So what I'm doing, adaptive audio for my final project. So something in doing like adaptive audio, what would I need like to do adaptive audio? Oh, what was it? Like, I'm gonna have to make the sounds. So what? It's like make the sounds, make the music. So composing. Sorry about that. The video camera I'm using actually ran out of battery, so that was annoying. So where was I? Like within this project, I'm gonna have to think of how I could create the adaptive audio. So I've already put down composing, so I'm gonna have to compose original music, and I'm gonna have to do sound design. So sound design for like things like sound effects. What else was it? What else is in this project? I've got composing, I've got sound design, then of course I've got recording and producing. So that'll be the kind of in the studio, because composing is quite easy. I can do that at home and stuff. Sound design I can do usually at home. I've got synthesizers, I've got things like Foley, portable recording things I can use. Recording, that'll have to be done at uni, because I don't have all the big fancy equipment that they do. So like recording and producing, that includes mixing, mastering, will have to be done at the uni. So what else is there to be? I've got the yes. So like let's. I've got the kind of actual integration and research into integration. So integration. I don't know if I'm spelling that right, but whatever. So I've got those things. I don't really think I need to keep those up. Where's my sock? The mighty sock, so I can rub this out. Like I knew this from the beginning. So I've got loads of these things will be kind of incorporated into the project. So things that I would need, like program software, things that I would need for this project. Well, the outcome of this project. What would become at the out? Like, what would I be presenting? That's the one thing. Like, I've got to ask a question, but I've got to present something at the end as well. So, at the end, maybe it's like OST of original compositions. So OST of original compositions. That would be the full compositions. They would have to be produced, recorded, mixed, mastered, and mastered properly, mind, because it needs to be on a gold disc. That's how it's mastering is properly done. Well, pre-mastering. Mastering is the actual printing and stuff like that, how making the physical copies. But pre-mastering is what I'll be kind of doing with that. So after that, I will be kind of giving like there will be a 3D space of the auditioned music, I guess. Of auditioned music. I'm running out of space and sound. So like I'll talk about how I'm going to do this in a bit. I've got an OST of original compositions, 3D space of audition music and sound, so where you can actually walk around an area and see how you interact with the sound. Nothing fancy with a TH, nothing fancy, like just like a wireframe thing. Like I'll tell you what I'm using for that in a second, but just a wireframe kind of environment, just really basic, where you can just move around and the audio will adapt. So, and we'll be having the actual sound files with, I don't know, dissertation, which is kind of describing my progress, what I've done, because I'm going to have to write about every single thing I've done. So like maybe those 4 things can be like what I produce. And to produce these, let's see what programs I'm going to need. My sock is horrible. Okay then, so because I've got to compose, so I'll just leave that there. So compose, composition will be done in Logic. That's what I used to write, that's what I used to compose and get basic things down. So all composition and things will be done in Logic Pro 9. Logic Pro 9. Composition won't be done. Maybe. So I've got notation as well. Notation, and that will be done in either Logic or Guitar Pro. Oops, missed the I. Because I know how to use Guitar Pro, and I prefer it over Sibelius. Like Sibelius is alright, I guess, but or Guitar Pro or Sibelius. You probably can't read my handwriting. So I've got to compose the original material. Then, what other programs will I be using for recording or producing? Recording. I'm going to be using Pro Tools HD, which is the fancy stuff at uni, because the things at uni are much better than what I have at home. I've got a little kind of studio set up at home, but I'm running Logic Pro 9, and that's all just the basic Logic, what comes with Logic, all the studio things there, and they're nice, but At uni we have a decent set of monitors, we have several sets of monitors, we have an SSL desk, we have an Audient desk, we have a Control 24 room, we have Pro Tools HD, which are also running things like, oh, I need a drink, things like Monica, things like the Waves plugins. So I'll be kind of mixing, mastering, doing all the kind of producing in that, recording, mixing, mastering, producing, all the fancy mics with all the nice equipment in the studios there, because they have much more expensive and better equipment than me. Also for recording I'm going to need a string quartet, because I'm not going to be able to record an orchestra. Like my style was going to be more Marty O'Donnell style, or maybe Jeremy Soule. I can't spell his name, but like that's Halo, and Jeremy Soule done Elder Scrolls. I'll just call it ES. Well, he done Elder Scrolls 4. So it'll be kind of probably in that style, but I'll probably go more for a Halo emotional style, because that can have more kind of modern instruments. Like Elder Scrolls is nice, but it's completely orchestral and cinematic, whereas Halo's more emotional, in-depth, kind of, it's got a more modern take on it as well. It's a bit more game music rather than cinematic film music. But I hope this can will this work. But anyway, implementation into like, think how would I implement it? I'm going to be using Fmod. So I've got to learn a new program. So I'm going to be using Fmod Designer and Sandbox. Like Designer is where I will be kind of putting all the final recordings and loops and things like that, and making them adaptive. So Fmod is where I make it adaptive. And Fmod Designer is where I make it adaptive, and Fmod Sandbox is where I audition. So at the end of it, I'm going to be having like an Fmod Sandbox and Designer file running at the same time, and they're going to be I'm going to hand it in my presentation. There's going to be an Fmod Designer and Sandbox running in sync, because they need to run, and you're going to be able to kind of I can't get my words out. I'm trying to help myself think, but I can't do it. Yeah, all my final work will be in there. You have a 3D space. It's going to be adaptive. You're going to walk around, hear the sound effects. You're going to hear the music change. You're going to hear all of my work in there, and of course there'll be a CD kind of next to it if you just want to listen to the full OST tracks. But I think that's what I've got to do. I think that's my project at the moment. Like, I'm gonna have. There's alternatives to Fmod. Like there's OpenAL. There's what is it? What's the other one? S something. SML, is it? Let me have a look. I've got it. Bollocks. SDL. Yeah. So I don't know if I can get this exact one back that way. So I've got OpenAL and SML, I think, or SDL. So OpenAL and SDL, but they are, I don't know, I don't like them as much. I had a look and I don't like them, so that's kind of what I'm going to be working on for the next year. And I hope you'll be able to follow me throughout the entire year and see how the project develops out with me. Does it seem quite big? It seems a fair bit to me. Like, this is all subject to change as well, so I think that'll do for now. I'm going to play around with Fmod a bit and get used to it, and get used to using it, because I've got to learn the entire program, and I don't even know if there's going to be code involved, but I'm going to have to do a lot of work, so stay tuned, I guess.